Hello, 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 everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the Principal's Office, hosted out of the Igniting Champion Leaders Club on Clubhouse, as well as sponsored by Lead Like a Champion. Just to get all of that out the way. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jamal Maxim. I'm an igniter of champion leaders, and my sole purpose is to ignite you in your leadership to lead change in coaching, as well as consulting, and as an educational leader. I cover those three domains of leadership. And so today, in this week's video podcast and audio podcast, which is streaming live on Clubhouse, we're talking about what is gifts based leadership. Now, before we jump on, for all of you who are watching me live on the video or who may be catching a replay, remember to comment, like, share, and save this video. Those of you who are in Clubhouse, feel free to share it in the hallway and other social media platforms. And so I'm gonna get right into the content today, and I'm gonna just tell you that as I get into this content, it's a little rough for me in this moment because I was in a different space in terms of listening to some conversations that were held earlier by some educators who were talking about play in education and just the importance of play in education, which I agree. I agree that you want to integrate play in education and make it fun, make the learning fun. But here's the problem. The same group of people that was talking about that, they began to talk about a connection of spiritualism in education. And while I'm not going to talk about that on this podcast or broadcast, but I'm going to tell you, it messed me up simply because my heart was broken to hear them talk about how they encourage children to talk to spirits and to do crystals and all of those things. And so it was very heartbreaking. And so it is what this is why it is essential as a leader to lead from a kingdom perspective. Now, if you're not familiar with the kingdom perspective, what that is, I'm going to share that with you now because it ties into what I'm talking about in terms of leading gifts based leadership. The kingdom perspective is a perspective that really recognizes that gifting, that you have been gifted the ability to lead, that leadership is a calling, not a career. It's a calling and it's a spiritual gift and it is a gift from God. And that when you are leading, you understand that you are on assignment. Now, I've broken down in previous conversations and videos that in your assignment, you're going to either make change, lead change, or accelerate progress. But the only way to do that is to have a framework from God. And so a lot of people talk about being spiritual, but there is a big difference between being spiritual and being kingdom. You can have a spiritual experience and not necessarily connect with God. And so when you are leading, that kingdom perspective is key because your any spiritual thing you do that's going to help you lead has to be anchored in your relationship with God. And so I want to say that because when we are talking about strength and gifts based leadership, it's important to know where the gift comes from and how you utilize the gifts as you are not only leading and operating as a leader, but how you are helping others in their roles and positions. A lot of people have left jobs because they were unfulfilled or left organizations because they were unfulfilled. And of course, people say, oh, they don't quit the vision, they quit the leader. Well, they quit a little bit of both. They will quit the vision because they recognize that they weren't in alignment. They may quit the leader because the leader, either they didn't like the leader or didn't gel with the leader's leadership style. But also people leave, and here's an important one, because they are unfulfilled. I left the business arena because I was unfulfilled, because I recognized the gift of teaching was not being utilized. And so it's important that when you lead by your gifts, that you help others to operate in their gifts so that they can have the sense of fulfillment. Now, Maslow's hierarchy of needs would tell you that fulfillment and what they call self actualization is at the top of the chart. But before that are the basic needs of food, belonging, shelter, safety, all of those things. While in the natural, yes, nobody wants to think about purpose and destiny and fulfillment if they're hungry. However, People who understand purpose and destiny can find ways to have safety and to not be hungry, because the operation of their gifts will cause them to be able to be successful, and then they won't have to deal with those other problems. And so I share that just to really get into it. But let me tell you first what strengths based leadership is. Now, of course, there's a book called Strength Based Leadership, and I am in the process of reading it. And a lot of people talk about it. It was published by Gallup and things like that. And they have a Strength Finders test that go with it and all of that. Now, I'm not endorsing the test or anything, but I'm just going to break down what strength based leadership is, so you will know how to complement it with gifts based leadership. Okay, so when you're talking about strengths based leadership, you're talking about leading in a way, or having an approach to leadership that focuses on identifying the strength of others and assigning them into a place or role or function of that complements that strength. So basically, you are recognizing where people are strong, and you are putting them in that area of strength so they can be successful. And so that is basically what strength-based leadership is. In a nutshell, it's recognizing the strength in other people, but also recognizing the strength within yourself. Now, one common leadership principle is to staff or to bring people in your circle in the areas of your own weaknesses. They tell you that you should have people around you who complement you by being strong in the areas you are not, so that it strengthens your team, and I would say have a better expression. And so, but in order to engage in that kind of leadership and have that kind of people around you who are experts in the areas that you are not, you have to, number one, be secure. Insecurity is the enemy of leadership, because an insecure leader would not bring people around them that strengthen the team. They would bring people around them that will make them look good, which is not good in itself. Because if everyone is a yes person and everyone is just like the leader, then there is limited effectiveness and limited strength. And so you want to make sure that you are confident and secure in who you are as a leader, so you can develop the strengths of others. Because when you see other people excelling, you don't want it to become a competition and get into what I call competitive advantage leadership, where now you, instead of leading your team to take your place in your sphere of influence, you're now competing with your team, trying to be the smartest person, trying to get all the accolades, which is self-destructive. Now, after you recognize that you're confident and secure in who you are, so you can develop their strengths, then you have to help your team become confident and comfortable in who they are. They have to see their value and worth to the team, and they have to embrace their areas of growth and maximize those areas, as well as maximize their areas of strength. Because it's okay to have an area of growth, because we're all consistently and constantly growing. If you are not growing and think you have arrived, then you need, would challenge you to change your perspective on that. And so you have to be confident in yourself. You have to help the people you are leading be confident and secure in who they are, because insecurity, again, will hinder the growth of the team, the organization, your leadership, and make any and every strategy that you're implementing ineffective. I'll say that again. Insecurity will hinder the growth of you, your leadership, your team, the place you are leading, and make any strategy you implement ineffective. Because if you are insecure, then that insecurity is going to be reproduced in your team, and nobody's going to live up to their full potential. Nobody's going to operate in their gifts. They're going to just do just enough, and then they're going to do things to try to get accolades instead of just doing things to produce. There's a difference. If you're doing something to produce, that's a different kind of focus and mindset than doing something to get accolades. Now, again, affirmation and accolades are important for you to give, But if you don't receive it, it does not shift or change your assignment one bit. While as a person, it feels good to get it, but not getting it should not be a determining factor on if you are doing what you're supposed to do as a leader. So I wanted to make that clear. Now, here's the thing about gift-based leadership. We talked about strength-based leadership, and like I said, there's a whole book that talks about that. But I just wanted to touch on that one point about it so you can see how gift-based leadership is a higher way of leading. Now, here it is. Gift-based leadership is a higher level of leading, and it focuses on using the gifts that a person has and the strengths as you are building your team and your own leadership. And what I mean by that is this. The focus is not only looking at their natural strengths and abilities, but it's also looking at their gifting. What other talents and giftings do they have that can be implemented and used and maximized so that they can be fulfilled and to help be in the right area of assignment? Remember, leadership is an art, a science, as well as a gift. And so the people that are following you, who have given you permission to lead them, your responsibility is to help them use their gifts in a way that will help them fulfill their assignment for connecting with you. And so you want to make sure that you help them recognize and walk out the gifts that are in them, because everybody is gifted beyond the skill set and the knowledge that they learn. Yes, people go to school to learn stuff and they practice and become good at things and they have natural strengths, but then there are other gifts that are developed alongside of that can enhance what they are doing and enhance what you are doing as a leader and just enhance the overall environment. I give you an example. So one example is this. When I was leading a school, there were people who were naturally gifted at creating fun experiences. I mean, when they taught, their classrooms were fun and they were off the chain. And their decorations, their presentation, everything. It was just a natural gift that was above and beyond the skill set of teaching and delivering a lesson. And they were good at building community. So one of the things I did was I put them together and helped them create fun experiences for the adults, so that they could transfer and use that natural gift of building community to help build the culture of the building. And so that's an example of what that looks like, because when you see somebody who's gifted in something, you want to find a way to use it and not just let them sit dormant on that gift, because if they sit dormant, eventually they're going to become unfulfilled and want to leave. The dictionary says that a gift is a natural endowment, a talent, or a special ability or capacity. Now, we all have been given a special ability or capacity by God. And so the career choice that we enter into, whether it's a business ownership situation or not, those gifts are still there. And on the inside, there is a desire to use those gifts in a meaningful way. Now, a lot of times, some people are doing things where they don't see the alignment of the gift or how those gifts play out. But as a leader, once you see those gifts and recognize them, you want to strategize on how you can allow people to express those gifts. You want to make room for the expression of the gifts that are placed in them. Because if people do not use their gifts, they will begin to lose their sense of joy and fulfillment in what they're doing. It's the same way with you. If you are not using your gift, you run the risk of losing the sense of joy and fulfillment in leading. You'll feel like, oh, this isn't the place for me anymore. Or those of you who are believers will say, God is reassigning me to somewhere else, or I don't feel that God is telling me to be here anymore. Sometimes, believers will over spiritualize the fact that they're just simply unfulfilled. And so you have to make sure that you are finding ways to use your gifts and use all of them and not allow them to lay dormant in your assignment. You cannot fulfill your leadership assignment without using your gifts. That's why you were born with those gifts. So, because the assignment that you have as a leader was predetermined for you, and as you fulfill it, the gifts are assets that you can use to fulfill your leadership assignment. And so if you're leading and it seems too hard or it seems like it's overwhelming, now I'm not saying, it doesn't feel that way sometimes, but if it feels that way more times than not, you need to really assess, are you utilizing every gift that you have, or have you compartmentalized something and caused yourself to not take advantage of the gifts that are placed in you? So I'm gonna give you 3 keys for those of you who are watching online, and those of you who are on Clubhouse, you're gonna get more strategy. But for those of you watching online, I'm about to give you 3 keys for accessing, or 3 reasons why you need to engage in gifts-based leadership. Now here it is. Number 1 is using your gifts along with your strength will bring fulfillment. And I've been saying that the entire time today, because a lot of people are trying to find joy. They're trying to rekindle their hope. They're trying to find fulfillment in life. And I know people think money is a fulfiller, but no, money is good and enjoyable. But if you're not fulfilled by using your gifts, the money in the world won't help you. All you have to do is look at celebrities and see how some of them are miserable. And so fulfillment, it does not come from natural things. Fulfillment comes from you recognizing that you are doing the thing that you are born to do or sent here to do. So utilizing the gifts that came with you when you were sent is one of the key ways that you can have fulfillment. Now, that's good for you as the leader, and you have to make it good for the people who are following your leadership. Your leadership has to be about igniting the gifts in others. If not, people would not stay long enough to follow you for you to get them to the destination that you're leading them to. And so you want to make sure that you discover their gifts and that you help them be okay with their areas of growth, and you ignite their confidence in using the gifts. All right. And so now the second thing is this: using your gifts and gifts-based leadership will increase the success of the team. You cannot accomplish your leadership assignment without other people, period. While I say you can't lead who you need in the sense of being needy and desperate, but you must know that your assignment will be only accomplished in community and in connection with other people. And so you cannot fulfill your assignment by yourself. And so as a team, your success rate is increased and guaranteed when you are operating in your gifting. A lot of people may be failing at things because they are in the wrong area and they are improperly placed. I remember one time when I was early on in my school leadership. In fact, I was still a mentee and hadn't taken on my school leadership position. There was a teacher that was not performing, and to keep a long story short, he was teaching a grade level, and I thought his contract shouldn't be renewed because he was terrible. The kids didn't listen to him; they weren't learning a thing, but here's the problem. What we found out is he was improperly placed. We moved him to teach the same subject, but a different grade level of students, and then he rocked it out. No matter how much coaching we gave him in a previous position, it seemed like nothing worked. A lot of times people can perform, but they might be improperly placed and in the wrong position. See, when you recognize somebody's gifts, then you recognize what position they need to play on the team that you are building. And when you put them in the right position, then it maximizes their opportunity for success. And then guess what? We all win because the team will win as the individuals win. But if you have people in the wrong position, that's a guaranteed loss because they're not playing according to their gifting or their strength. All right, so now here's the third thing. Gifts-based leadership is going to help people embrace their role in accomplishing the vision, because one of the biggest challenges is helping people see their role and where they fit, especially when you're already functioning at a high level. When you're functioning at a high level and the people around you are functioning at a high level, it's hard for people to see their role. They may even deal with thoughts of, what am I doing with them? They all got it together. I don't fit. They may even small themselves up because they see the high level and high efficiency that you're functioning. Now, here's the thing, but when you tap in, when you help them realize their gifts, you will help them see where they fit in the high functioning team. And they will recognize, wait a minute, I function at a high level too when I operate in my gift and in my strength, and I don't have to compete. I don't have to feel less than, because I am complementing and what they are doing, and now I am a part of a high functioning team. And so that's super essential, because you might have somebody who wants to connect with you as a leader, but they might be intimidated because of your level of excellence and your level of success. And so you have to be intentional. Once you know they're the right person, you have to be intentional to help them connect by tapping into their gifts and strengths and plugging them into that area where their gifts and strengths are. Even if you already have people who are doing something similar, you still want to plug them into that area so that they can, again, utilize their gifts. So, those were three keys and three reasons why you need to engage in the gift based leadership. And now, you make sure that you don't compartmentalize, and you have to help people see how their gifts apply to the vision, because sometimes other people will compartmentalize their gifts. And what I mean by that, they will say that this skill set, this talent, this gift applies in this area, but not this area. And so the key is you have to help them see how what they do applies and can enhance their ability. I'm going to give you one more example before I end the video. When I was a teacher, one of the things I did, because I'm a musician as well, the class was always full of music, and the class utilized musical skill sets. And what I mean by that is I brought my music personality into my instruction. So we were always playing music. We were always, they were always repeating things after me to a cadence like it was music. I was always using songs to help them learn and remember and master content. And I brought that creative spin to my lesson delivery. Why? Because I tapped into the gift of creativity from being a musician and doing music, and brought that into my lesson delivery. Now, somebody may say, well, that was easy. What were you teaching? I was teaching computers at the time. And so it wasn't like I was teaching the music class, which I did previously. I was teaching computers. And so I want to ask you, what skill set, what gift do you have that you can bring into what you are doing that may seem like it doesn't fit or seem like it doesn't mesh or join, but can actually enhance the expression of what you're doing? Because every gift you have enhances the expression of something else that you have. And so you want to make sure you bring your whole you to your leadership, and encourage the people that you are connected to and that you are leading to bring their whole them, so that people will see something that they've never seen before, and they will experience something that they never experienced before. Because this is your time to lead in an unprecedented way, and in a way that's more meaningful than what people have ever seen. Because the world is starving for leaders who can lead courageously, creatively, who are caring, but confident and bold, and not on that foolishness. And so you want to make sure that that's you. And so if you need help with that, I encourage you to get on my website, jamalmaxim.org, and register for the Leadership Accelerator. Enrollment is open, and I want to ignite you to lead not only from a kingdom perspective, but you're going to lead like a champion and fulfill your leadership assignment. Because as I started out, I told you my heart was heavy because of that discussion I heard earlier. There are so many people injecting so many things and trying to influence people in so many ways. Your voice needs to be the voice of reason, not in terms of intellect, but the voice of reason that's pointing people to the solution of God. Because every other solution and strategy will fail unless it came from God. And I believe you are in a time in leadership for this moment, like Joseph was in divinely positioned for his moment. And I really believe for some educators, a lot of this is like a Gideon moment for you, to where things have been trimmed down and you have been hiding under oppression, but now is your time to stand up like a champion and lead change. And I'm going to share more of that for in a totally different broadcast specifically for educators, but I'm just telling you, this is your time to be a champion and lead change. And it's going to take you operating in your gifts, and it's going to take you activating the gifts of those around you. Whether they're a believer or not, you need to activate their skill set and then help them come to be a believer as they see you operate. And so, with that, those of you who are watching online live as well as catching a replay, I want to thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments of what you think about gift-based leadership. Remember to reach out to me to help you walk that out in a practical and real way. So remember, I want you to always, 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 I want you to be successful and lead like a champion. Bye-bye.